Season 5 of The Score, the Team Roping Journal's podcast, where we cover the roping industry from top to bottom. This is where the team roping world talks. We talk through tough subjects, we talk big wins, and we talk real issues affecting the community. I'm your host and editor of the Team Roping Journal, Chelsea Schaefer.
Hey Team Ropers, welcome back to another episode of The Short Score. For this week's episode, we have an audio clip from roping.com with Charly Crawford at the Smarty Young Pro Camp talking about learning how to be a winner. I hope you all enjoy this episode, brought to you by the WCRA.
One, be careful who you hang out with. Be very, keep your standards high, okay? Smoking, drinking, all that stuff, drugs. If you surround yourself with that, in 5 years, that's where you're gonna be, okay? When people interviewed Michael Jordan, and they said what made him great is his standards. He had a very high standard among himself, his teammates, and the people around him. But what he ended up being, one of the greatest of all time, okay? So remember that. And here's the next important part of the process. You either win or you learn. Nothing else. You don't lose, you learn, okay? When you guys learn, because the other day, Jade Connor, I don't know if you guys know who that is. Josie Connor, one of the baddest little girls coming up right now in the breakaway. This girl has not hardly lost at all. Everywhere she goes, she wins. They went to a roping the other day and she missed a high call and it started happening a couple different times in a row, okay? They got back home at 1 o'clock in the morning. You wanna know what she did when she got home? Saddled up a horse, turned on the lights, and went and worked on it until that became a strength. You wanna know what her dad called and told us? He said, you know what's funny about losing is I would have not seen that right there if she'd have won. Does that make sense? Use learning as a building block, okay? Whatever it was right there, she couldn't wait to get back home, turn the lights off, and get up under it. He said if we'd have won the roping that day, that'd never happened. It's amazing what losing can do. It can grow you. It can mature you. It can get you to that next step. Remember the root system. That's part of the process. Get up under it until it becomes a strength.
Are you a rodeo athlete looking for new ways to earn money? The WCRA World Champions Rodeo Alliance is all for rodeo, and you can be too. How does the WCRA work, and how do you earn money? Start by nominating any event you are going to be participating in prior to the performance start time. You can nominate anything with publicly verifiable results. Team roping jackpots, 40 barrel races, rough stock only events, or pro rodeos. Basically, any rodeo event counts. As long as the event has public and verifiable results, you are eligible to earn WCRA points. How do you start? Go to the App Store or Google Play Store. Download the WCRA app on your mobile device. If you already have an account, hit nominate. If not, hit register and create your account. Select your discipline and the date you ride or run. Verify you're nominating the current segment. Confirm your payment. Now it's time to compete and earn points. The WCRA team will track your results and points will be awarded if and when you place and earn money. Nominate today and visit WCRA Rodeo at WCRArodeo.com or on the WCRA Rodeo app for event information.
I like goals. Goals inspired me. You talk to Trevor about goals? Trevor's like, so you think I need to write down if I want to win the world? Like, I already know I got to win the world. Different mentality. You know what I'm saying? But for most people, so one of the things that made me good was because I learned how to lose first. Okay, does that make sense? So I learned how to lose first. That's a tough way to learn how to win once you learn how to lose. Okay, I roped really good, but I got my butt kicked a lot, and so my confidence was terrible. I was always getting my butt kicked. I had to learn how to win. All right, when you're around winners, there's just something about them. You can see it in their eyes. You can see it in their actions. Okay, you can see it in their mentality. And so what I was able to do was I got to where I was. I started roping in the 80s, okay? I started professionally competing in the 90s. Go ahead and Google a 1996, 1998 NFR. Look and see what it looks like then. Look what it seems like now, okay? You'll see one guy stand out, Speedy Williams. He changed the game. The rest of it looks like a 14 roping. That's no disrespect to those guys. Those were the best guys in the world back then. That's just how much it's evolved since now, okay? Those were the guys I surrounded myself with. Those were the guys I tried to learn how to win from. Well, look at their styles then. Look at their styles now. So I had to do a lot of adapting. Big Al's the same way. He grew up heeling steers and, a long time ago when they were big and, longer hops, and then they started getting smaller and smaller and smaller. He had to break his roping down and rebuild it as well. Those are one of the things that actually made me better, was the fact that I had to learn how to win when I didn't know how to. I had to learn how, okay? I had to learn how to tear my roping down and build it back up. How many times we try to do like too many things at once? Okay, now I'm gonna work on my roping, I'm gonna work on my scoring, I'm gonna work on my handles, I'm gonna work on my face. We got all these things we wanna work on one day. How does that practice session usually end up? You wanna cut your ropes up, sell your horse, and take up golf. Okay, been there. So what I like to do is I always like to start what's closest to the box, okay? So I kind of understand like where, if I'm breaking barriers, no sense working on facing that day, okay? If my lanes are all over the place, probably don't need to work on my handles. If my position's too close or too far back, probably don't need to work on my corner, okay? If I'm missing, then I probably don't need to work on handles and facing that day either. You just kind of go down the list. And so that way you find out what your weaknesses are, you beat those up, and then what you end up doing is you don't worry about catching. You're worrying about getting that weakness to a strength. So if you can ignore all the rest of the outcomes, that's not the goal. Sometimes you got to back down. I call it the root system, okay? Everyone here was at this level when you got here, right? Everyone here wants to get to that next level, right? When they leave, okay? What usually happens when you try to get to the next level? Performance drops. That's why so many people don't like schools, because when they go there, they either change their roping or they change something, and usually what happens? Their performance drops. They start missing. They're trying to do different things. Well, so what do? Nope, tried that. Not going to do that. Okay, so they don't go to them because when they have to stretch themselves out, they have to get up underneath the problem. Okay, they have to get it underneath whatever that root is right there, that weed that you got to pluck out of there. Okay, so usually when you drop, your performance drops, if you know that's part of the process and you understand that, then your frustration is going to be less. If you're wanting to try something new and you'd expect yourself not to drop, you're kind of being unrealistic with yourself. That's what's going to create frustration. If you know that's part of the process and how to get better, then once you get up underneath right there of like splitting the horns or hitting up underneath the right horn or getting my good start, once I get up underneath that, when you get up underneath it, when you come back up, that's how you've gotten better. That makes sense? So the process is huge. That's one of the biggest things that took me the longest time to learn at your age, because I wanted to make the NFR. Okay? I wanted to make the NFR. Well, shoot, I was skipping a lot of processes in the meantime. I ended up winning Rookie of the Year right off the bat, which is a huge goal of mine. Well, then I thought, well, shoot, NFR next. Well, I wasn't ready. Didn't have the horses, didn't have the mental game, didn't have the finances, didn't have the game either. I didn't even rope as good as those guys did. So I had to get back underneath of it, and I started surrounding myself with winners and guys who could, and then I had to kind of back my goals back down. All right, how about this? How about I go home? How about I win my amateur association up there where I come from and see if I can get there. If I can get through there, then maybe I'm good enough. If I can't beat the local guys, then I'm going to have a hard time beating the best guys in the world. Okay, I started just kind of backing my goals back down. Give myself a little bit of those wins, a little bit of confidence where I kind of keep stair-stepping until I got to where, all right, Thomas and Mack, baby, here we come. Okay, so one of the things that I like about goals, most of your guys' ropings you're going to go to, except for I think the high school finals or even college finals, I think those are all 3 head, right? Okay, All right, let's just focus on our biggest ropings. What's our biggest roping goals this year? U.S. finals already come and gone. Next one, most of them are forehead. Okay, so let's have a foreheader real quick. On the ground. Remember, back up the box like you're riding to the steer. Set the run up. See if you can catch 4 steers in a row right here. All right, let's keep adding the pressure up as you build it. Okay, visualize yourself roping the first steer. Visualize yourself roping the second steer. Visualize yourself roping the third one. Some people, the third one's the hardest one because it's one right before the short round. Right? Oh my gosh, here's a short round. Now the breakaway ropers are over watching. Here comes the barrel racers. Here comes a few steer wrestlers. Whatever it is, whatever the pressure is, 20 grand a man. Finally get a chance to win my first saddle, my first buckle, truck, trailer. Okay, put yourself in that spot. We've all been there. We've all known what happens when we get tight, right? Try to draw that out on the ground. This is the cheapest practice you'll find. Okay, so spread out, 5 dummies, 4 head. Okay, now try to visualize. Put your goals right here in front of each one of these swings, in front of each one of these spots. That's what if you start thinking that way yourself, Big Al helped me out with something a long time ago. When I rode with him in 2006, man, I was missing, I was doing this, and I was so hard on myself. And Big Al told me, one of my best friends growing and rodeoing was Chad Masters and Luke Brown. They're 2 of the best guys that I've ever met. And he said, man, if Luke or Chad, if they were missing like that, like, would you be that hard on them? Like how hard you are on yourself? Like, no, man, I've got so much confidence in those guys, I know they wouldn't miss 2 in a row. So maybe you ought to start thinking of yourself that way. That was life-changing for me. You got to be your own best friend. You got to treat yourself just like you treat your best friend. You got to be hard on yourself when you need to be hard on yourself, but for the most part, you've got to be for you. Okay? Because if you're not, it's going to be hard to live with yourself. You don't get to go away. You don't get to go in the next room. You got to live with yourself all day long, every day, for the rest of your life. So you just will enjoy it. That makes sense? Those are little things I like right there. Put yourself in those situations right there. See where your mind's at. See what you rope like under pressure. All right?